I'm Josh.
I'm Trevor.
And you're listening to
Hedwigs
Army. Plays intro music that is currently being created and should be available for the next episode. Hello everyone. If you're a new listener, welcome.
And if you're a returning listener, welcome back.
In this episode, we're going to be discussing prophecies and divination. So, to get started on our first topic, which is prophecies, I figured I'd give you all a little definition of what a prophecy is, okay?
Because there is a difference.
Pretty intense, pretty definitive, right? So, a prophecy, according to Google itself, is nothing other than a prediction.
Yeah. But I think the difference, like an even bigger difference, is the fact that, like, anybody can do divination, but you have to be a seer. You have to be born with the ability to make prophecies.
We're going to discuss that later, because I don't think anybody can do divination, personally. But I think it's one of the worst subjects of Hogwarts. But we'll talk about that later.
I'm saying, like,
we'll talk about divination later.
A seer, somebody who makes prophecies, you're born with that ability.
Well, that I'm not denying, but I don't think anybody can do divination, personally.
You can be taught divination, but you can't really be... I mean,
you can be taught prophecies and how they're formulated, but that doesn't mean you can do them. We'll discuss it. Let's get to prophecies. So, what we're going to be talking about mainly is the fact of whether a prophecy is predetermined or self-fulfilled. The difference being it's going to happen no matter what, or it's going to be made to happen.
I think the other word we were looking for was predestined.
Predestined, I guess, but it's hard to find the right word because basically, like
it's fated to happen.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you do. You could turn left. It's still like if somebody told you, "Oh yeah, this is going to happen," and you try to change it, like you try to avoid something happening and it ends up happening. That's predestined. Right.
My example I like to kind of think of when I think of this is it a road that leads to the same destination, or is it a road with multiple paths? For example, is it a straight line? You go straight and you turn left, and inevitably it's going to curve back around and get you back going straight to that destination. Or you go straight and you turn right, and it's going to lead you, so whichever way you turn, it's always going to lead back to there. Or if you go left, do you get another choice? Is it left or right after that? Kind of like, can you make a decision to go away from that destiny?
Do you mind if I expand on that a little bit? Because like when you're describing the roads, it almost makes me think like if like there's a bunch of roads, do they converge at one point, and that point like there's no offshoots? It's just that they all lead to one point, or is it more like some of those roads might just continue going straight and not converge at that one point?
True. Yeah, that's a good point, because I think a lot of things that when it comes to prophecies being predestined, that people forget, or not even just predestined, but the argument whether they're predestined or self-fulfilled, that people forget is it's not only just dependent on what the people it's about do. For example, I don't want to get too example-y because we have a lot of things to talk about with this, but for example, Voldemort, my main argument is, what if you went after Neville or something? Well, what if, let's say, Ron died in book 1 when he got hit over the head? Mm-hmm. Okay? He plays a big role, maybe not the most major role, but a big role in Voldemort's downfall, ultimately. So... Well,
he also kind of helps them get past the first things. Oh, okay. You're saying, like, if he dies...
Yeah, if he dies, then does it still end the same?
Well, then Harry has to go... In book 2, Harry has to go down to the chambers by himself.
Right. I mean, you could for time's sake, I'm not going to go through each book, but yeah, you could go through each book and it shows Ron's importance. Yeah.
He doesn't defeat Voldemort there, and, like, the book Voldemort... He is trying to make a comeback, and he's with Ginny, and he's using her life force. Like, if Harry doesn't make it down there because Lockhart puts a memory spell on him, Ginny dies. They don't have kids. So
that's what I was saying. Like, for time's sake, I'm not going to go into each instance.
No, but that's a really good example.
No, I know, that is. I'm saying, like, you could go through each book and find Ron's importance. But ultimately, even if they get through all of that by themselves, he doesn't rescue Harry from the lake in book 7, Harry drowns trying to get the sword, and Voldemort wins.
Or does it just kill the Horcrux? I'm just kidding. He probably dies.
Right. So that's the thing. Or that's the thing is it inevitable that something else would have happened to rescue Harry from there? To
Because if it's something else takes Ron's place, then the whole book is essentially predestined. Everything is going to happen.
Right. The whole series. Yes.
It,
Yeah. That's what
it doesn't matter what anybody
right.
does.
That's what I'm saying. And you can't make 100% argument either way because of the way it played out. You can't pretend it didn't play out that way.
Well, I was reading somewhere that they said it's more like a self-fulfilling prophecy because, like, had Voldemort not gone after either boy, then nothing happens.
Right.
Because he doesn't have an equal. Therefore, just Voldemort kind of rules without anybody being able to stop him. I mean, Dumbledore probably could have defeated him, but it would have taken him a lot longer because he would have had to destroy all the Horcruxes.
Right, I get you. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. So, yeah. That's
So he would eventually probably be defeated, but it wouldn't, like, he would just keep coming back.
Right. I mean, the hardest part is the main argument for them being predestined is that it all works out the way it's supposed to in the prophecy.
Yeah.
But is it just a big coincidence that it happened that way? Or, like, is it, well, that was a coincidence. Is it predestined that it was always going to happen that way? Or is it self-fulfilled because Voldemort literally made his downfall inevitable?
Well, I think I'm going to go on... I'm just going to say that I think that Voldemort's actions had a big role to play in it, but also Dumbledore had a big role to play in it. Even though it's not concerning him technically, he kind of keeps Harry in line, gives him nudges here and there to keep him on a path that will eventually lead to him and Voldemort in a battle.
Right, yes. I mean, yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Because he sends him to do the Horcrux
Either way, it's going to affect and rely on the actions of multiple people, whether it's self-fulfilled or predestined. So, I mean, there's arguments for either side. I think right now I'm sitting on the side of self-fulfilled. Okay. What would you say for yourself?
After the research I did, I didn't do crazy amounts, but I'm leaning towards self-fulfilled, but there is a pretty decent argument for a lot of them being predestined.
Okay, that's fair. So I have two prophecies here that I want to discuss. They're both
Actually, I think mine kind of... You know what? I'm going to lean more towards self-fulfilled because the one thing I was going to say that's predestined is the prediction. It's not technically a prophecy in the sense that she doesn't, lose herself. But when Trelawney makes that prediction about 13 at a table,
right?
If we take that as a prophecy, then we have one that's predestined. Because she says 13, and nobody realizes that there's 13 there.
Right, again, I don't really see that as a prophecy because she was, in her mind and she remembers that.
Right, I'm saying that
her
if you consider it, if you consider it a prophecy, then it would follow that it's predestined.
But now, when we get into divination, I'll discuss this more in detail, but when we see in multiple parts of the series that Trelawney is definitely at least good at fortune telling. She's at least a fortune teller.
I think she's a good seer as well. It's just she is
a seer.
She doesn't have a lot.
Right. She makes legit prophecies. She's a seer. But I'm saying people look like, oh, you don't really. She's terrible. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's wrong a lot. She's actually right a lot. And the Neville breaking the cup and one of them leaving forever, which ended to be Hermione leaving the class. She makes good predictions. I think there's a difference between prediction and prophecies, though. I think predictions are predetermined. They're going to happen. She can see what's going to happen. Prophecies are more of in my opinion, they're more of an
educated guess.
Right. They're more of at the path things are going at this moment, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Because let's look at the very first prophecy. The one with the power to vanquish the dark, the Lord approaches. Born to those who have thrice defied him, born in the 7th month dies. And the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal, but he will have power the Dark Lord knows not. And either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord will be born as the 7th month dies. Okay? Now, when I read that, there's a couple things that come to my mind. This literally can be taken very much both predetermined or self-fulfilled. Because on the predetermined side, like, everything that happens in here happens perfectly. While it can easily, one or two things that I'm going to talk about in a second can
like
change it. Right. Can change it. It doesn't. It goes exactly smoothly. And it happens before Voldemort even knows about any of this. So it's like, without this, so we know from reading that Voldemort goes after Harry because he hears the prophecy.
Right.
That it was made.
Well, I think he
What if
makes
he
that
never
decision,
heard the prophecy?
He makes that decision based on, he's like, okay, it can, I think Snape makes the point that it can be either Longbottom or the Potters, and Dumbledore's like, out of the two of them, it's probably the Potters that are going to go after, like, that I would go after and kill.
Right. Which, yeah, I'm gonna break this down in a second.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I'm saying is every piece of it happens perfectly. What if Snape never, what if the prophecy was made to just Dumbledore and his headquarters and nobody overheard it?
Or what if it was made and because Trelawney doesn't remember anything.
Right.
Then nobody's there to hear.
Right, how many prophecies did nobody hear?
Then, like, is it recorded in the Hall of Mysteries?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, if somebody makes a prediction, does it just...
Department of Mysteries.
I
was like, wait, hold on, that's not right.
The Hall with the prophecies.
Wait, the Hall, yeah, but it's the Department of Mysteries. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, like, in those prophecies, like, are those just... If somebody speaks something, it happens to be a prophecy, then does it just magically appear on a shelf? Or
well, no, I think it's recorded with, like, they record it within there. Like, Dumbledore probably pulls his memory of it out and puts it into a sphere. That's how I've always seen it.
When I was looking up, they made hints at, like, that the little things that we see the prophecies in kind of remind them of pensives.
Yeah.
So
I would say
sense.
That's how I've always thought of it in my headcanon. So let me break this down for a minute because, like, I'm a self-fulfilled believer, but I can't deny that this seems predetermined. I can't deny that. But I'm gonna break it down for you guys. So the one with the power to vanquish Dark Lord approaches. Okay. Now this is obviously referring to, well, Harry. I mean, this is referring to either Harry or Neville. It's not even referring to Harry at this point. It's referring to somebody that is
able to destroy
what's the
Voldemort.
Word? Somebody that's I don't want to say pregnant because they're not pregnant, but like their mom's pregnant with them. They're formulating right now as into a fetus.
Right. I think she's saying like somebody who will be his equal, because to at least have the power to vanquish, destroy him,
but
they're
saying
to be his equal.
Right. Yeah. But they're referring to the person, but she's saying approaches, meaning they're like forming as an infant. As a fetus. Born of those who thrice defied him. Okay, obviously that could be either Lily,
I think that's when it
starts
Potters
or the Longbottoms. Yep, now we're talking about the Potters or the Longbottoms.
Because no other...
right.
It does...
As far as we know, there could be...
what they mean by, like, thrice defied him. Like,
I mean...
does that mean, like, in battle, specifically Voldemort was battling with
I
them?
think it's like, okay, again, this is my always thought, is you know how Harry in book 1 turns away from Malfoy? That'd be defying Voldemort in a sense.
Oh, so like they were tempted
like
3 times and
right.
Like
I wouldn't say at that point it'd be defying Voldemort because Malfoy wasn't, Draco wasn't part of Voldemort's crew yet. But like something like that would be it. Like the Death Eaters approach and try to,
turn to the dark side.
Right, or they have an opportunity and they choose light over dark. 3 times, I would say. That's how I've always thought of that.
So it doesn't have to be like a direct confrontation. You don't think?
I don't know. I mean, maybe yes and no.
Direct.
I think it has.
So
I think the possibility. I think the ability to change the dark side is given, and they choose to stay with the good side. And the Dark Lord born in the 7th month dies. Now we're talking about again Harry or Neville, because they both die at the end of July.
Okay. I was like, wait, what is the 7th month? It's next month.
But he will have power. The Dark Lord Markham is equal, and he will have power. The Dark Lord knows not. Which we've discussed briefly what that power is.
We actually were like, is it, because it can be one of two things.
Right,
is it the protection of his, like the love from his mom?
Right, or is it the ability to see into Voldemort's mind? The shared connection. Because that plays a huge role throughout the series as well. They both, he wouldn't succeed without both of them.
Right.
I mean, I guess you could argue he could succeed without seeing the Voldemort's mind, but it very much helps him in knowing what's
Voldemort doesn't know love.
Taps on him.
And at the time doesn't know that there's protection on him from his mom.
Right.
So I think those are the two things. Like, Voldemort doesn't know either one of those.
Right. It's definitely talking about love, but he doesn't know about the connection for a while. So I think there's a possibility it could be referring to that, but it's definitely referring to love because he knows about it, but he doesn't understand it. So I think know meaning understand. And neither must live at the hand of and neither must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. Okay? Again, it can be argued twice. One, you can argue, okay, well, nobody kills him. Yes, because my self-fulfill, it's what if he dies? Well, he didn't. Nobody killed him. They went out of, they purposely didn't kill him. So you can't argue that, oh, what if he died? Well, he was never able to be killed because, of the protection of love. Well, only from Voldemort, though. He could die. I mean,
I think
also the Horcrux inside of him. That was the other argument we made, is he didn't know that he was a Horcrux. Voldemort did not know that he was a Horcrux at all. And that protected him from dying because it would he would live through it.
Actually, since Harry's a Horcrux, he doesn't know it, but because he's a Horcrux, would it be like a stretch to say that if anybody kills him, doesn't matter if it's Voldemort or somebody like Dumbledore turns on him and kills him. Not that would happen, but hypothetically speaking, if he does that destroy the Horcrux? And then Harry's soul is still there.
I mean, I think it was answered in Book 7. I don't think it matters that Voldemort performed it. Because it doesn't matter who kills Horcruxes, they're still destroyed. I don't think it matters that Voldemort killed him. I think no matter who would have killed him, it would have broken that Horcrux, but his soul would have remained intact inside the body. But I don't know. See, that's the hard part. It's well, then what if, what about regular Horcruxes? Once they're destroyed, the Horcrux is destroyed, but so is the object. So Nagini was a Horcrux, but he didn't live. She didn't live.
But I think that's the difference. Harry was killed, yes, with the killing curse. So it destroyed the Horcrux, but there was still something that you can still function in that body.
Right.
I think that's why he didn't die in that sense. But Nagini had her head chopped off. So
I guess that makes sense. Okay, so
she's dead.
Right. So you're saying if Harry had his head chopped off, he would have been done so.
Probably.
Okay, I agree with that because I guess what I think about it right now is maybe because we know that
the way he died.
The only way to destroy a Horcrux is with magic that is
has to be equal or better.
It's what is the definition of how to destroy a Horcrux?
Irrevocably.
Irreversibly damaged. Yes. So Basilisk Venom is irreversibly damaged, which is ironic because it gets healed within Harry from Phoenix Tears. But
I think Phoenix Tears is irreversible. It's there's so few methods to
you can't put a head back on.
Right. And if Harry didn't have.
But if you smash a locket with a rock and bust it into pieces, it's not irreversible. Technically, any object is irreversible when you can repair it. But so it's a little complicated. But I think I don't remember if it said
a rock, and the rock didn't do anything.
I don't remember if they did. To be honest.
But the sword of Gryffindor.
They did before they had the sword. Yeah.
Yeah, they tried it.
They tried to beat it,
and it didn't do a thing to it. It was eh.
Right, but moving on, my point is, because you can argue about that all day, but my point is, I think I read somewhere, I could be wrong in this, but I'm pretty sure that it's known that Avada Kedavra can destroy Horcrux.
Because it destroys
Kind of. Like, I don't think using it on an object would destroy it, but I think using it on a person would destroy it. But my thought now is that the Horcrux ate Avada Kedavra in a sense. Like, instead of the spell hitting Harry, like, all together and destroying his body, all the power went into the Horcrux and destroyed the Horcrux, so it didn't actually affect Harry's body at all. Had somebody came up and stabbed him in the stomach 3 times, though, he would have died, for real.
Question. If, in that, like how you were going, is it possible that the killing curse, when it hit Harry, the Horcrux doesn't have the protection that Lily gave Harry?
Right,
it
that's what I'm saying.
only applies to Harry's soul.
That's what I'm saying. The Horcrux ate the curse.
Or, like, it hit him and it can't kill the protective part.
No, I don't think that matters. I don't think that matters, Lily's curse, because that's the point of Voldemort having Harry's blood. Or her love. Her protection.
Technically.
Because that's the point of Voldemort having Harry's blood. He could touch Harry. The love no longer protects Harry to Voldemort.
Okay.
No longer. Anyone else didn't protect him to anybody. Anyone else could have killed Harry, in my opinion.
I think if he got shot, he would still be able to survive,
could not have.
Like, it would kind of be like the Bascos venom. Assuming you get him medical care, he survives.
Right, if you get a medical care, if you shoot somebody in real life, they can live through it. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like,
but if you, like, cut off
methods
his head,
that could kill him,
Dunzo.
Methods other than, like, Avada Kedavra. Again, my opinion, the Horcrux ate the spell of Avada Kedavra, destroyed the Horcrux, but did not affect Harry's physical body. Another reason I think that is because there's no way to come back from the dead. That is the one thing, that is the one, whatever exception we know to magic. You cannot, even the Resurrection Stone, the closest thing, does not fully bring a person back.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, like, you can't make somebody else love you. Like, you can't.
You can.
Love, but, like,
love
potion.
Potion. You can't make food appear when it's not there. You can't just formulate food out of it, particles. You have to have the food. And then you can summon it. Yeah. That's another thing, but love potion, you make somebody fall in love with you. It wouldn't be real, but it'd be love.
I think that's the thing, is, like, you can't create true love.
Right, like, you can't,
you can
love, you can't, like, think about it, though. You can't make somebody happy with magic. Like, you can make them happy in the time, but overall, their real self isn't happy. You're manipulating their emotions.
Right.
If you think of it that way.
Right.
So, anyways, back to prophecies. So, that entire thing I just read, it can be taken in 2 ways, in my opinion. Each thing, well, break it down. What if Harry... I mean, this is going to get kind of dark, so, a little trigger warning for some people if you are dealing with any, like, possible mental health or physical issues that, we're not mean, but we might, it can be a little dark, some of the things we talk about, especially when we're talking about, the Dark Lord.
Right, yeah.
But, let's say if one of the power, the Vanquished Dark Lord approaches, what if Harry was a miscarriage? Or died at birth? You know what I mean?
You're not wrong.
But the argument on the predestined side, well, it was never going to happen. It was never possible for that to happen. But our side, like, that's very possible. The self-fulfilled side.
Okay, let's assume that...
Because self-fulfilled not only necessarily meaning, again, the person, like, Harry's an infant. He can't self-fulfill anything, but... His parents, what if they neglected him and he starved to death?
Actually, matter of fact, what if Voldemort... Because Voldemort waited from the time that he heard the prophecy until he actually went after them. I don't remember how long it was, but it was it was a decent couple months.
No, that's not true. They were in hiding. He was looking for them, but they were in hiding. He didn't know where they were until Wormtail told him, and then he did wait a bit. He wanted to formulate a plan. He didn't just go in like a madman, kicking the door in.
Right, but I'm saying, like, had he, as soon as he heard that, gone after, because I think somebody said, like, that he was going there to create a Horcrux in the first place.
Right, yeah, out of Harry.
Yeah. Had he, and I think he was looking for the Sword of Gryffindor, was what he was looking for.
He was looking for the Sword of Gryffindor, but he was more... Like, he was going to kill Harry and then make the Sword of Gryffindor.
Right.
I think he had the Sword of Gryffindor.
He didn't. Because the Super Cullen brothers made they talk about it, where they say that it's weird that he waited so long, but he was waiting...
Right.
Molly's brothers were both Gryffindors. Because Dumbledore... or the sword appears to a Gryffindor when they have like super amounts of courage, and you would have courage if like it's a life or death situation, because like the Weasley brothers die, and then somebody else dies.
See, now what I heard, reverse that, is there's a theory out there that Voldemort had the sword. Nobody knows for sure, but he had the sword and he got it from Wormtail somehow. Somehow Wormtail was able to, because he's a Gryffindor, he was able to conjure it somehow and gave it to Voldemort, and Voldemort had it, and that's why he chose that night, because he finally obtained the sword. Because Harry was a year old at that point. Why would you wait? He was over a year old. It was Halloween. Why would you wait all that time to go after him?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Had I think Dumbledore or Voldemort made his move sooner while he was still in the womb, then...
Well, actually, I don't think he knew about it until after Harry was born, actually. I think it was relatively, like, I think it was, like, I don't quote me on this, but I think it was, like, a month or something after he found out that he went after Harry. But I think he was already looking for the sword, because he knew he wanted another Horcrux. I think he figured this prophecy being so prominent, again, he only heard half of it, and having the sword, like, it was going to be the ultimate Horcrux.
Right.
But I don't know for sure. But it's an interesting theory to think about.
Like you said, like, what if Lily dies before Harry's born?
I mean, there's a million questions. Okay?
Then would it default to Neville then?
Right.
If it's predestined, right? But, like, also semi-self-fulfilling. And, like, one of the parents dies, does it automatically, immediately, Neville is the only one that could fulfill that prophecy? Because it technically applies to two people. So even if it's predestined...
But it could also be like Voldemort's it could also be like Voldemort, his prophecy, finds out that Harry's of death, whatever, be like, oh, we're good, got him. I didn't have to, that was the easiest work I've ever done in my life.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, like, assume that, like,
maybe
it's the two options.
Or he's like, you know what? Because the prophecy, it's still true. That was supposed to happen, so it must be somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's also how he looks at it. So moving on board of those who tries to fight him, well, I mean...
That's only two people. Two families. The Potters and the Longbottoms.
Right, but also at that point, like, that could be like, okay, well, maybe they already defied him thrice, so, like, that's not like a predestined thing, like, that's happened already. Yeah. Or is there a third time after that prophecy made that it happened, and that prophecy knew it was going to happen?
Or what if
Because parts of this that don't make sense for self-fulfilled is, like, the Potters didn't know about the prophecy, so, like, born to those who tries to fight him, like, what if, I mean, if they knew about it, like, okay, well, let's defy him a third time, or let's not defy him a third time, and then that wasn't us. But if they didn't know about it, and if they didn't defy him a third time before the prophecy was made, then they did after it was made, and the prophecy was right. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense?
Yeah. I also have a question. So, like, they thrice defied him. It doesn't say when. So what if, say, like, Lily and James had only done it twice, but the third time is when they protect him?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Is well, I mean...
So then...
I guess it could be. Like, when they die to protect Harry, I guess it could be.
Could that actually expand the pool of people that could have become his equal?
That's... I mean,
the 7th month thing...
Right.
Also narrows it down, but, like, if it didn't have that part...
Right, I mean, but again, it also depends, like, if it's predetermined, that could mean anybody. Like, predetermined means so people have thrice defied him. If it's all happening, if it already happened before the prophecy, it narrows it down. If it's referring to it possibly happening 3 times,
and one of those
after the prophecy, then somebody that defied him once could defy him 2 more times after the prophecy. Boom, they thrice defied him.
Or like they did twice, and then but they go to kill the.
Not who will or who does thrice defy him. Have thrice defied him. So it happened in the past. It's past tense. So yeah, it's limited. I would say off that reading and off that like.
Then it would just be the Longbottoms and the Potters. Okay.
He'll have power Dark Lord knows not, or Dark Lord or Markham as equal, but you'll have power the Dark Lord knows not. Again, if that's talking about love. And Lily doesn't sacrifice herself, or maybe she's like downstairs, they're both downstairs, he walks in, blasts them both, goes up and kills Harry. Harry's dead, there is no love protection, there is no power, the Dark Lord knows not.
Although, if you think about it...
It goes to Neville, Instead,
Neville's parents showed love, like a power that like Voldemort wouldn't know, because like they literally loved their like family so much that they were willing to literally go insane to protect people.
But as I'm saying, you walk in, maybe the Longbottoms go on a night out and they're like having Neville babysat. You know what I mean? And he's just like, hey, look who it is! Bang bang, Dad. Now let's go get Neville real quick, or Harry even. Either one. So I'm just saying, like, again, self-fulfilled. Like she always intended, or was it always going to be? Has to be Harry. Has to be Lily protecting him. You know what I mean? So,
good point.
This prophecy is I think, very much towards the predetermined side of things, more than anything.
But wouldn't that mean that any prophecy, like if they all follow predestined, or is it that some are predestined and some are...
you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. After reading this and analyzing it, I think they're all predestined. I think I've already switched sides, and that was probably the shortest because while I want to think they're self-fulfilled in a lot of aspects, it makes more sense because if there was one piece of this that didn't add up perfectly, I would say it's self-fulfilled, and it just happened to be a big coincidence. But everything, I mean, Harry's born. You know, I'm pretty sure Lily's pregnant when this is being given. So Harry's like approaching. He's born. His parents are thrice defied Voldemort. He's born July 31st at the end of the 7th month. Dark Lord, basically, Dark Lord tries to kill him after Lily's sacrifice. He gets the power of love.
Same day?
I don't know, actually.
That'd be interesting.
But I'm pretty sure it's
the same day.
Yeah. Either was died at the hand of the other. That's the part where it's like, now I feel like it's self-fulfilled, though. Because either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. Like, that only happens because Voldemort makes it happen. Voldemort
constantly goes after Harry.
Says, I have to be the one to kill him. I have to be the one to kill him. So if he didn't know about that part of the prophecy, would still have happened. Or he'd be like, somebody kill him already. You know?
Actually, I don't mind.
Actually, I don't think he heard that part. He only heard the first half of the prophecy. So actually, he didn't even know about that. That only they have to die at the hand of the other, because neither can live with it.
But it could also be self-fulfilling because Voldemort is the way he is. So, like...
Right. And I think the prophecy
if he was able to change himself and not go after Harry...
the prophecy knew he wouldn't, though. That's why, like, maybe it is predetermined, because the prophecy knew, he didn't even hear that, but he knew that Voldemort would not let somebody else kill him. The prophecy knew that he's so big-headed he would have to kill him himself.
Is prophecy sentient?
Yes, I think so. I do. I think so. Anyways, I think we've kind of beat the heck out of the first prophecy, and I think I've proven the point that I was wrong in the beginning, and I'm right now.
I actually have a question. Let's say the Potters die, right?
Okay.
Or, actually, no. Let's say they live, and the Longbottoms are the ones that Voldemort goes after, right? Kills the Neville's parents. I don't remember if they give them names. They do, but I don't remember their names. And Neville becomes the chosen one, right? What happens to the Potters? Because I don't remember them saying that the Longbottoms were under the same protection as the Potters. So would the roles completely reverse? Where, like, the Potters are literally tortured into insanity like the Longbottoms were.
No, see, I think differently. I think it's the exact opposite would happen. I think Voldemort would win, because you gotta go back to the very beginning of the prophecy. Why did the Potters even have protection? Because Dumbledore knew about it. How did Dumbledore know about it? Because Snape is the one that overheard it, and Snape was in love with Lily, and he asked Dumbledore to help protect them. He would not have done the same he would have probably been in there killing them with Voldemort if it was the Longbottoms.
So you don't think it matters whether Harry dies? Like, the Lily and James die, then?
What do you mean?
Because if it's predestined, it wouldn't matter if they die or not.
Well, no, they'd have to die. Because without Lily dying, Harry doesn't get affection.
If he goes after the Longbottoms, right, kills the Longbottoms, and somehow miraculously Neville survives or something. Or, like, if you're saying that they all die, right? But then the only exception to, like, the only other person that this could apply to is Harry. But let's say that Snape is like, okay, the only other person that they can go after is these people. I'm going to protect them and keep them from dying.
But who, Dumbledore?
No, Snape.
Oh.
Like, Snape gets wind of it because, he's like, oh, crap, the Dark Lord is
he tells it to them, and Voldemort's like, they talk about the Potters. Potter's name comes up, and that's when Snape's like, I messed up.
Right, but I'm saying, like, if it had happened where the Longbottoms die first, and then Snape catches wind, would Snape go and be like, hey, you need to dip out somewhere? And maybe, then they survive.
Maybe, but it doesn't matter, because Neville's either dead or he's the chosen one.
I'm just saying, like, if they all die, then would it defer to Harry? In which case, would it be predestined? Either way.
I would say no, because unless Voldemort realizes that it's both of them, then maybe he'd go after both. He did. No, he didn't. No, he would have killed Neville if he knew it was both of them.
I thought Snape brought it up and was like, well, these two families are the only families that it could apply to, and he's like, Potters.
Maybe, but I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think it would have mattered. If he went after Neville first, I guess you can argue that if he went after Neville and killed Neville in the Longbottoms, and then went after Harry, that it would still play out the same way, because Lily would still know about it because of Snape. Lily would still sacrifice himself. He'd still have a lot to defeat Voldemort. I think Neville plays a major role throughout the series, but somebody could have easily taken his role. So I guess if he went after the Longbottoms, it might have played out the exact same way. In a sense. There's a possibility that it could still turn out the exact same way it did. With or without the Longbottoms. With or without Neville. Such stakes, I like Neville, but I think it's true. Well, I think he does. I mean, since he has the opportunity, he does step up and play a major role that I don't know if anybody else would have done. But his role wasn't so important that he had to be the only person that was able to do it, like Harry. He's the only one that's able to defeat Voldemort because he has the powers. But anyone could chop Nagini's head off if they had the courage to do it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, wow, with all that said, let's move on to the second prophecy. It's a shorter one, but let's see how it makes us feel. It will happen tonight. The Dark Lord lies alone and friendless, abandoned by his followers. His servant has been chained these 12 years. Tonight, before midnight, the servant will break free and set out to rejoin his master. The Dark Lord will rise again with his servant's aid, greater and more terrible than ever was. Tonight, before midnight, the servant will set out to rejoin his master. So, the first thing I want to say about that after reading it on paper is y'all should have known it wasn't serious right from the get-go that the prophecy was about. It says, tonight before midnight, the servant will break free and set out to rejoin his master. Sirius has already been free for weeks, months at this point. So, why would he need to break out tonight if he's already out and free for months at this point? Because they knew he broke out of Azkaban back before Harry went to school.
See, my problem is that Pettigrew, who we're assuming it's talking about, I don't consider him chained. Are they saying are they?
I would say chained in a metaphorical approach, because he's stuck. You can't turn out of a rat, because if anyone catches wind of it, he's a goner. If anyone sees him and I saw Peter Pettigrew, it's over, because he's supposed to be dead. So he is chained in a sense, metaphorically. He's not physically chained up, but he is chained in a sense.
Yeah.
So obviously that could be taken both ways for Sirius or Pettigrew, with the exception of the tonight he'll break free, which I think definitely shows that it can't be serious.
Not that it would apply to him, because it doesn't really help until much later. Snape, because I think at that time Snape was actually in chains. They had him floating, but he was
no, not this time. No, this is way before that happens, bro. This is literally half a book before that happens. But So
I'm saying, like, would it,
this
could it
doesn't.
apply to both of them?
No, to both of Snape.
Snape and Pettigrew.
No, I would say very much not. I mean, he's been chained for 12 years. Tonight before midnight, he will break free and set out to rejoin his master. Dark Lord will rise again with his servant's aid. He doesn't rise again with Snape's aid. Or Sirius's, but they don't know that at this point. Anyways, so obviously we take it by both ways at this point. We know now after reading it, like a lot of this doesn't make sense for Sirius anymore anyway.
Yeah.
But at the time, it could make sense for both of them. The reason I don't think this can be self-fulfilled is because it's not technically...
It's not vague enough to be like...
It's too vague, I think, to be self-fulfilled. It's not specific enough. Like, for example, everyone thinks he's talking about Sirius, even us, at that point. She's talking about Sirius. But, like, Pettigrew, nothing he would have done or not done would have made this happen or not happen. So, let's break it down. That night, Dark Lord lies alone and friendless, abandoned by his followers. Okay, that's obvious. Servant been chained for 12 years. Like, I mean, I guess if he would have transformed back into a person and got caught, none of this would have happened. But, like, he didn't, and the reason he didn't, the prophecy knew that he couldn't. Like, I don't think the prophecy is like, again, I said it before, this is a straight road. It has to happen this way. I think there's curves within the prophecy road, but it all ends up to the same result. Meaning, yes, technically he could have transferred back into a human at any point and got busted, but the predestiny, whatever you want to call it, knew that it wasn't just that it couldn't happen, but that he wouldn't do that. Like, they knew he wouldn't risk it.
Right.
So it goes off your... Yeah. So it goes off your personality as much as, it wouldn't have applied to anybody. If it was anybody else in this position, it might have been a different prophecy. Like, if Sirius was evil, actually, and this was referring to him, based off his personality, maybe it wouldn't have worked out. Chained for 12 years, if he shapeshift, or if it was him that was free and he was a dog and Pettigrew was in prison and he shapeshifted, would he have shapeshifted into a human? He couldn't even stay a dog the whole time while he was free in the mountains. He had to go back into human form because he couldn't handle it.
Right.
Being a dog that long. So would he have lasted? If it was him, it might have been a different outcome, a different predestined prophecy, because it goes off of personality, not just like, oh, this is it, and whoever gets stuck playing that role, they're going to have to, this is going to be their destiny. It's each person has their very own destiny.
Right. Based
off of their personality as a person. That's how I think about it. So this is Pettigrew's prophecy for what's going to happen because of Pettigrew, not because any servant of Voldemort in his position would have had the same prophecy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what I think my view is. It's not only predestined, but it's predestined because of the self-fulfillment of the person, in a sense. The way they are, the way they act, the things they do. The road they set themselves.
Still technically be a self-fulfilled prophecy because of the way they go about things. Like, I feel like the first one, the major one, is leaning, for me, personally, more towards self-fulfilling. Whereas this one, like you said...
Explain how, because I don't understand to that.
Because it's all up to the way Voldemort... Like, even assuming Voldemort doesn't hear it, does nothing happens.
Exactly, but he does hear it.
Right.
And
because he hears it that it becomes true.
But okay, it's hard. Let's think of the prophecy, the predetermined, the predestiny as a person, because it's hard to talk about it in a non-physical form. So let's say, let's talk about like Trelawney. Let's say Trelawney is the prophecy. Like, she knows. She's the greater power that knows how it's going to be done. She can see the future or whatever. So she sees, she knows Snape is sneaky. She knows Snape is going to, try to listen in on the interview or happen to be in the whatever. Why is Snape even in Hogsmeade at that point? He's a Death Eater. I think he caught wind of it, and that's when the prophecy really took over, once he caught wind of it. Had he not caught wind of it, the prophecy wouldn't have been made. But because he caught wind of it, because that action happened, this road opened up. He caught wind of the interview, decided to listen in on it for whatever reason. Or tried to, or maybe he saw them there and he decided to go try to listen in on them. She made that prophecy, he heard part of it, and then got scooted out of there.
Okay. I guess this is where so I think it's self-fulfilled because the people in it made the decision. That's not predestined what they're going to do.
But they made a decision that was
like,
already
to me,
known they were going to make it.
It doesn't matter if Snape's here. Like, say Snape doesn't hear it, Voldemort doesn't hear it, and it still freaking happens. But that to me is predestined.
Right, but he does though. You know what I mean? Like, they argue if he does it all day long, but he
But that's what
predestined for him to hear it.
Yeah, but that doesn't him hearing it. Like, if he doesn't hear it or hears it, if it happens, either way, then
if he hears the whole thing too, but he gets booted out of there. Why does he get booted out of there? That's not his choice to get booted out of there.
No, but he gets booted out.
Right.
But that's why I guess I'm arguing that it's. I think that the first one is more self-fulfilled because it's the way people are acting. That affects.
But if we're looking at predestined as a roadmap to how people act, like they know that this person acts this way. You know, Trelawney knows this person acts this way, quote unquote. So she knows that he's going to overhear it and he's going to run to the Dark Lord. That's where that part of the prophecy comes in.
Right, but they still have the option to not do that.
But they do it though. But they do it. That's the thing. But they do it though. This was right. This predetermined what they're going to do.
That makes it.
They already knew. No.
Yeah.
No. Well, how?
Because they choose that, the other things happen.
Okay, but they chose that because it was always supposed to be that way. They knew it knew they were going to. How do you know it doesn't? You can argue how do you or how do you not know it happened. You know what I mean? I'm saying it happened that way because it was supposed to happen that way. He was supposed to overhear it. That is a predestined thing.
Yeah, but if he overhears it, okay, cool. He overhears it. It's
and
what
then
he does after
and then it was exactly. He was predestined to go to Voldemort and tell him about it.
No.
Yes, no. He did it. How are you going to say it's not? He did it. He literally did it. Trelawney or whatever, the prophecy, the predestiny, his destiny knew that he was going to do that. It was a roadmap.
The only way we could settle the argument is if J.K. Rowling comes out with another book.
No, the only way to settle the argument is if there's a prophecy made that is self-fulfilled and it's not fulfilled because somebody chooses something different. We don't know about that. Do we not know about that because it's not given to us, or do we not know about that because it didn't happen? You don't know.
Okay, fine. Let's approach it in real life, right?
Okay.
Somebody says something's going to happen.
But okay.
Huh? No, but assume that the same rules apply, right? Somebody makes a prophecy about you, right? Says that you're going to do this, this, and this, right? One of your friends overhears it, tells you, right?
Right. And you still do this, this, and this.
Yeah. Then that's your choice whether you do it. You've heard the prophecy. You know,
but exactly. Okay, let's say this. Let's say the prophecy is...
Because Voldemort knows the first half.
Let's say here's the whole prophecy. Do you think it changes the whole prophecy? Do you think he doesn't go after Harry? Yeah. Or I don't think so. I think he still goes after Harry because he's still big-headed. He's going to be like, this baby's not going to stop me. He goes after himself, though. He's like, this baby's not going to stop me. I'm going to stop it.
Himself. He's self-fulfilling the prophecy. If he doesn't go after any of them, right, and just continues his reign like he doesn't care.
What? Yeah, but he's choosing it because because the destiny knows that he would choose that. The destiny knows that based on his personality and how he is, he's not going to let a baby to stop him.
Sorry about the heatedness of the argument.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying though. Like, it's a destiny not because it has to happen, but because it knows how the person will react to things. It knows that Snape's going to overhear it. What?
Destiny is not a person.
Okay, but it's a physical being in a sense. It's quote unquote God. Okay, if you're thinking of it that way, something's making this destiny. But Trelawney, being the greater power being whatever, knows that
makes a prediction.
Snape's going to hear it,
assuming all these conditions are met. This happens.
Right, knows that Snape's going to hear it. And he knows because Snape is Snape that he's going to run and tell Voldemort about it. And the being knows because Voldemort's who he is, he's going to go after Harry. So it's a roadmap. Once Snape, I'll give it to you to a point. If Snape doesn't hear the prophecy being made,
none of it happened.
None of it happened. But since he
That's
did,
self-fulfilling.
but once he, in a sense, like once he heard the prophecy's made because he's there to hear it.
You're literally describing self-fulfilling.
No. Once it's set, it's not self-fulfilled.
Okay.
In this sense.
Okay. You just said...
No, but the prophecy's made because Snape's there to hear it. If Snape isn't there to hear it, there is no prophecy.
Yeah, there is.
No, I don't think there is. I think the prophecy, because it just happens suddenly. The prophecy begins when Snape is there to overhear it. That's what sets it in motion, because he's there to overhear them.
That's
now
what we
the prophecy
assume,
kicks
but we
in.
don't know.
What?
It could just be that it just so happens.
Well, yeah, we
at
don't.
Time
We're
like,
arguing about something we don't know about. There's no 100% answer to this.
But it is self-fulfilling, though.
No, it's not.
100%.
No, it's not.
Because you just said you made my point for me. You said
how?
You said Snape doesn't hear it. Doesn't happen.
Right. No. I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Snape doesn't hear it. The prophecy isn't made. The prophecy is set in motion with Snape being there.
Okay. Prophecy doesn't happen, right? And then if Voldemort chooses not to do anything, then
exactly
a prophecy that we know could have happened.
But it never happened, though. It wasn't set in motion. That's what I'm saying. Okay, you start a project. You don't. The project isn't able to be completed if it's never started.
You see in the future. You see the future and you record.
No, it's not. A prophecy is not seeing into the future. It's a roadmap. That's why I'm saying prophecy and divination, predictions or future. What's it called? Future. Seeing into the future and a prophecy is two completely different things. Because this is vague. It's not saying Harry is going to go do this. It is a vague, like you said before in the car, it's a vague thing. This is going to happen. Mm-hmm. It could have been Neville, but it wasn't. This is going to happen. It doesn't matter how it gets there. This is how it's going to work out. But it's not set in motion until Snape is there to overhear it.
Yeah, she makes a prophecy. Snape has the decision. Tell Voldemort or not tell Voldemort.
Exactly. But he makes the decision to tell Voldemort because the prophecy...
No,
but the prophecy knows that he's going to choose that. Yes.
The prophecy does not.
He does it. How are you going to argue with me? He does it. If he didn't do it, you could argue with me. He does it.
Okay, cool. He does it. Snape specifically
chooses. You're thinking of the prophecy as this has to happen this exact way. I'm saying the prophecy, Snape overhears it. No, Snape overhears it, and the prophecy, like the higher being that creates prophecies, knows that Snape is going to go tell Voldemort. Knows that it's in Snape's personality to go let his his master know.
Let's argue fate, right? Because that's where we're arguing. Is fate. Okay, fate knows X, Y, Z, right? And just happens to get people. The rundown. It's like, hey, this.
If it was Ronaldo in there, or no, whatever the guy's name is, Rowan in there, or whatever, I forgot the guy's name. I can't think of his name. If it was another Death Eater in there, the prophecy might have been different because it might have ended with the same result.
That's self-fulfilling. If it's predestined, it does not matter what you do, the thing happens.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's. I'm not saying it's predetermined, not predestined. Predetermined.
The same thing.
No, predestined. Destiny means it's going to happen no matter what. Determined to be predetermined. It's my thinking means it's going to happen because the roadmap is set out that way.
Yeah, your destination. You're predestined to do it. Predetermined means
no.
It's already decided.
But you're thinking of it. You're not thinking on my level, so there's no way I can explain this to you. You're saying self-fulfilled because you're saying it could have been different had one event different. If Snape wasn't there, there would be no prophecy, though.
That's what
the prophecy is put in motion, and then it's untouchable after that. The prophecy is put in motion by Snape being there. Okay, just like if I don't go to work, I can't start a project. But once I go to work, now the projects are in motion. Okay? And I see them through. It's always going to be that I see them through. Okay? I could walk out of work and quit, but it's not how I am. So I'm going to see the job through. But if one of our coworkers comes to work, if one of our coworkers come to work, it might be different. Maybe he is the kind of person he would just walk out and leave and quit the job because he doesn't want to do the work. Okay? That's what I'm saying. It's all about personality. If it's another Death Eater there, the prophecy is different because maybe he wouldn't run and tell Snape right away. Maybe he would want the glory for himself. But because it's Snape that overhears it, the prophecy is set in that motion. That sets that roadmap of the prophecy in motion.
Okay, let me ask you this then, right? So Snape tells, because when you're describing what you're describing, when I hear what you're describing, you're giving fate a personality, which it doesn't have.
It's a higher being. Something creates prophecies, no?
It's a concept. It's not a physical being.
But no, it is. It
can't choose what
but it's a greater power. It knows. It knows. It's greater power.
Okay. I'm saying, like, fate to me is whatever happens.
Okay, happens. But you're arguing fate. I'm arguing something different. I'm not saying it's fate. I'm saying it's a roadmap, which is completely different. I'm saying your actions, the action you make, every action you make sets something in motion. There's multiple, hundreds of thousands of different roadmaps and prophecies in people's lives, in my opinion, in here. That one prophecy, because Snape's action did set that in motion, that set that roadmap in motion to happen.
Right, he goes and tells Voldemort, right? Voldemort has the option. Right. He chooses something different. He chooses to go after it.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, he chooses. Right. But he has the option.
But he doesn't take it. So he doesn't really have the option. Like, yes, he does technically have an option, yes or no, do it or not do it. But the prophecy knows on his based on Voldemort's personality. Doesn't know
anything. The prophecy is saying this could happen in the future. That's the whole argument between.
It happens word for word.
That's the definition of a self-fulfilled prophecy. Is it's prophesized that this will happen
because it knows how people react.
The only reason it happens is because
they choose it. Yes,
that's a self-fulfilled.
But it knows prophecy. What they're going to choose. It knows that they're going to go. He's going to go after Harry regardless because he can't be beaten. He can't let somebody beat him, quote unquote. He's got to be the better person. His own
choice to do that.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not predestined. It's predestined to the person because it knows the greater being that creates the prophecy knows that that's how Voldemort is and that's how he will react.
Then it's predestined. It's not. If you're arguing that, then it would be predestined. But I honestly think that it's self-fulfilled.
But you're not really giving me legit reasons other than if you chose this.
Yeah, because it's up to
But he didn't, though. He didn't. Give me a reason that happens that would make it that way.
A self-fulfilling prophecy happens the way it happens because the people choose it. Predestined says your choice doesn't mean...
I think you're wrong. I think you're looking at the wrong. I don't think it's not saying your choice means nothing. I mean, I think it says it knows what choices you're going to make. It already knows the choices you're going to make. Okay, put it this way. Let's compare it to looking in the future. Let's look at Trelawney when she predicts that Neville breaks the mug. If she doesn't say it out loud, does he do it?
Probably not.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think he does it regardless. She can see that he's going to do it. How many things did she not say out loud that happened, probably?
I don't know.
Okay, the 13 things. The 13, whatever, sit at a table thing. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's the theory that, 13th, the 13th person was Pettigrew. The 13th person was Pettigrew. The first person to die was Dumbledore. He was also the first to sit. Okay? That's predestined. Okay, so that's predestined. So you're saying that one thing could be predestined and the other thing could be self-fulfilled. They could be two different things.
Yeah.
But the same thing. The same thing can have two different ways of going about it. Because she's making a prediction.
Yeah, she's saying, assuming that there's 13 at the table, because she didn't want to sit because she would have made 13. She didn't know that 13 were already there.
Exactly. But something else did. Because it knows already. It knows in the future. It knows that Voldemort's going to die first, so it has... What if she beat Sirius there? Or what if she beat Ron there? And he didn't sit with Scabbers?
Then there would be 12.
Exactly. So when Ron sat, it would be 14, not 13.
Yeah, it would have been 14 if she sat down.
Right, but she didn't sit. She did sit, but it was already 13 at that point.
Right, so assume that she sits first, makes prophecy, Ron sits down. There's 14 people.
Okay, exactly.
If it happens the way it happened.
Exactly, and then it wouldn't happen, but
because there's already 13.
Exactly, but it didn't happen that way because she didn't beat Ron there. Had she beat Ron there and sat, it would be 12, skip to 14. Does Dumbledore still die first?
Probably.
That proves our point. It happened that way because it's supposed to happen that way. Okay? Because Ron rushes to dinner and Trelawney is like skitsy. She's like skittery around. and it knows that Ron's going to get there first, and knows the Scabbers in it. I mean, you can argue this all day. I'm just saying. My point is, I'm not saying that it has to happen this way, and this is it regardless. I'm saying it happened this way because of the way it was set in motion and the people it was set with, the people involved in it. It knows, the greater power, which I'm calling it, knows how people, the choices they will make because it knows how they are. It knows that Snape, since Snape overheard it, he's going to go tell Dumbledore because that's what he does. He's Dumbledore's right-hand man. He goes there. He knows that Voldemort. It knows that Voldemort is going to go after Harry because even if he heard the whole prophecy, he's not going to let the idea of a baby get the best of him. He's going to be like, I'm going to go take this baby out. It's not going to get the best of me.
Then I ask you this question, right? Assuming everything's predestined, right? There's no choice. Everything you do is already chosen for you. Doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah. I guess in a sense.
No.
I would say it knows the choice you're going to make.
Right, so what's
more so than you not having a choice, you have a choice, yes or no, but it already knows which one you're going to make.
Yeah, no, so, what you're saying is,
fine, yes. Yes. And I think I have more than enough proof to back that up, but yes.
Okay.
Okay, but here's my thing, though, is with your argument, you have no proof that it's the other way, because it never happens the other way.
No, I have proof because they chose to do things the way that they were doing. If they went
right, but I'm saying that choices were already known ahead of time.
If there was no choice in the matter, if it wasn't like, hey, you can do this or this, you're given the option, and we know choices are a big thing because Lily had the choice, was given the choice, stand down,
exactly,
or die.
Exactly, and by this, it's saying it already knew she was not going to stand down. It already knew that she was going to let herself die for Harry. And it happened that way. There's no proof of it happening a different way. There's no prophecy that's made and then not fulfilled that we know of because somebody acted differently. The only two prophecies that we actually know of, they happen the exact way that they're told they're going to happen.
Well, there's prophecies in the hall.
Yeah, but we don't know. They could all be...
That we don't know if they get fulfilled or not.
Exactly.
So then...
So I'm saying there's no proof on your end.
That's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yes.
So if nobody hears a prophecy...
Yeah, go find a prophecy that you can prove is not fulfilled, and then you can win the argument.
Alright. I got an argument for you then. Somebody tells you, hey, you're going to die in X amount of days, right?
Okay.
You act differently because you're like, hey, I'm going to
Here's why this doesn't make... Here's why I hate using real-life examples, because prophecies aren't real in real life that we know of.
It says this is whether you could be like, hey.
So your argument is yes, I'd act differently, but maybe the prophecy, if there's one in real life, knows I would act differently.
No, you would have the choice to either act differently because you know your time is limited, or extended or something, or you go about your life not knowing that and you act a different way.
Okay, either way, it ends up with the same result. I don't change fate. I still end up dead. In 3 days, regardless of what I do. Okay, this doesn't say, okay, Snape's going to overhear them, and then he's going to apparate to this place and tell Voldemort this. Voldemort could be anywhere. It doesn't know where Voldemort is.
I'm just arguing that it's self.
It doesn't matter how you get there. It's not specifying how you get there. It's just saying you get there. He tells Voldemort. He doesn't say he took a broom and fly to Malfoy Manor or whatever, fly to the Forest of Albania to tell Voldemort, or whatever, not Forest of Albania, he wouldn't be there yet, but wherever Voldemort is, to tell him. It doesn't say how you get there, it just says this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. That's what I'm saying, it's not a straight line, this is exactly how it works out, it's wavy, but it gets to each checkpoint.
Let's agree to disagree.
Fine, we'll agree to disagree. I'm just saying, come up with proof, and I'll believe you. I have proof, so I have proof on my end in the form of the only two prophecies we know. So then at the end of the day, he's sticking with self-fulfilled, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I've changed my opinion fully to predestined because I have proof. And he doesn't, so I win. Fine, we'll agree to disagree on this subject, but...
We'll let you guys decide what you would like
Right, yeah, let us know your thoughts on it. Try to tell Trevor why he's wrong and why I'm right.
I don't, think that I know how everybody is going to react. And...
But the prophecy does. The greater being knows exactly what your opinions are, so.
When you add a greater being, that's a whole other can of worms to open.
Well, I mean...
Then that's more religion stuff, and it's not so much Harry Potter stuff.
Okay, I wouldn't say it's religion. I'm just saying it's a greater being, like somewhere in the world, in
Okay,
the
what's
Harry
that greater
Potter
being?
world.
God, yes.
No, I don't think it's God. I think it's a higher being.
Okay.
Something
Something
takes over Trelawney and makes her see into the future. That's all I'm saying. Something created atoms. We can do this all day. The whole, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? We're all going to lead down to something eventually, or it's just an endless circle. So I think we're stuck in an endless circle, so let's move on. So our next subject, we're going to jump into it because we're kind of running a little long, is divination, which should be a short little topic anyway. Basically, we're just going to...
It's really boring.
We're just going to kind of pick, like, are you team Trelawney or are you team Friends? Meaning, are you team... what is it?
Centaur.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not talking about that. Are you team, like...
Are you for the humans predicting crap, or are you...
right.
More so for centaurs?
Right, are you team, like, future, like... what's the word? Future, seeing into the future. Are you team astronomy, basically? Because astrology.
Reading the
because so the centaurs, they all their predictions come off the movement of the planets and the astrology and things like that. And Trelawney, all hers come from like dreams and like seeing tea leaves and into the future and stuff. So which one do you believe in more, Trevor?
Friends.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Trelawney. I think they both have points of being right, but I think Trelawney's more accurately right. I feel like Trelawney says something from the beginning and it works out, and Friends changes his motives halfway through.
Well, let me argue this. In the first book, the centaurs make a prediction.
Right. That one I would say is correct. The war.
That literally is the whole...
Mars is bright tonight.
Yeah. The beginning of the war starts...
Right.
In that book.
Okay, yeah, so war is coming. I'll give you that one. But I'm saying Trelawney, like, with all the little predictions I mentioned, she gets a lot more correct than... Like, she has more of a track record.
Because we get more views.
War is coming, yeah, because Voldemort's not fully dead. Okay, a war is coming, yeah. It's inevitable going to happen if Voldemort's still alive. She gets more, like, bing, bing, bang, right on the money. Oh, Neville's going to break a cup. Oh, he's going to break a second cup. Oh, Hermione's going to leave the class. Oh, Voldemort's going to be defeated by Harry. Oh, Voldemort's going to be resurrected by Wormtail. Like, all these things she gets right on the money and people don't give her credit for. Oh, 13 people are dying. The first to sit is the first to stand is the first to die. Oh, Dumbledore just stood and he dies before all of them. So, or Sirius is at the Grimmauld place. He's the first to rise to greet Harry after the meeting, and he was the 13th person. Well, there's 13 people at the table. He dies before all of them later in that book. So,
good points.
I'm just saying, but Friends, he's like, oh yeah, Mars is bright tonight, which is a very deeper meaning to a war is coming. Well, you know what? You don't really got to be a rocket scientist to know that war is coming. I mean, but yes, he is right, and nobody knows about the Horcruxes, so technically Mars is right, I guess you'd say. He does read them correctly. That, I think, can be taken more as a coincidence. There's more coincidental that Mars just happens to be bright on that night, and that war inevitably ends up happening. So I buy into Trelawney's divination more than Friends', personally. Mm-hmm. You have anything you'd like to say about Friends? I have a whole thing here. Here, I'll help you out here. I know that you have learned the names of the planets and moons and astronomy. That is astronomy. That's astrology. Mm-hmm. Astronomy. And then you have mapped the stars' progress in heaven. Centaurs have unraveled the mysteries of these movements. The reading of it
is astrology.
What?
The interpretation of astronomy is astrology.
Okay, over centuries, I'm here to explain the wisdom of centaurs. In the past decade, the indications that have been wizard kind is living through nothing more than a brief calm between two wars. Mars, bringer of battles, shines brightly above us, suggesting that the fight must soon break out. I mean, that's literally fortune telling. That's what I was thinking of. Not future saying and future fortune telling. Says he has little patience for he called fortune telling, suggests suggesting that to try to understand divination in these terms was blinkered and fettered by the limitations of being human. But Trelawney's right a lot. So his friends, like, I mean, he just sounds like he doesn't believe it because he's jealous. I mean, she's right a lot. So I guess there's not too much to argue about this because friends doesn't get him much. I guess just...
we just don't get enough information on centaurs.
Okay, so you sticking with
Yeah.
centaurs.
Yeah.
Being the number one, prediction.
Yeah.
Okay. And astronomy being number one prediction over divination.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm going to stick with Trelawney because, I mean, she's proved time and time again that even though she might be a nutter, she got it right. So obviously she knows her stuff. But, I mean, that's really all we got for divination, unfortunately, because there's not too much to it. What do you think, real quick, before we wrap it up, what do you think about, like, the dream journals and stuff like that? Do you think they have, like, do you think that they matter at all?
In, like, Harry Potter? Not so much. Not so
Okay.
much.
Because, like, she has them take dream journals. Do your dreams mean anything? They obviously make them up. But they kind of make them up accurately. Remember, Ron?
I mean, in real life, it's more so you, like... I feel like a dream journal would be more so, like, interpreting your own feelings that, like, sometimes you consciously aren't aware of. Like, when you have dreams about falling, it says, you know, maybe you're more stressed out, but you don't catch that right away because you're so busy that you don't catch it, but your dreams, your subconscious catches it.
Right, yeah. I don't have the article, but Ron basically predicts all the events of the fourth book. You can look it up. It's really easy to find. But yeah, through his dream journal. So it goes to our argument, is divination teachable or is it something you have to be born with? I think we agree a seer is you have to be born with it. I don't think divination is teachable because, I mean, while the whole fact that theory that Ron predicts book 4,
I mean, certain aspects,
obviously, like,
are
legit.
more, like, you have to be taught, like, if you did, like, I don't think they do tarot cards, but, like, that's something you'd have to be taught to, like, interpret, like, if you get this card, it could mean this or this, but, like, it's probably this.
Okay.
And, like,
I guess
seeing, like, through the crystal ball.
So it's like history class.
Like
it's memorizing things more than actually know. Like, you didn't battle the history, but you know the history because you learned about it.
Right.
You don't.
And, like,
you don't.
Tea leaves is more like something you would have to be, because, like,
you don't fortune tell, but you know how to read certain things.
Right. Like, read between the lines and go, I'm gonna say, based on the information I'm getting, this is probably what's gonna happen, but I'm not 100% sure.
Right. Okay. So, I don't know. I guess I just stand with, I don't really know. I mean, I don't really know. I would say...
I'm leaning more toward...
It's more so not teachable. Like, divination as a whole is not teachable. How to read divination is. How to read the signs. But, like, I don't think they'd be able to come up with the signs.
Is like,
I mean, yes and no. I think divination, I have a description of it. Divination is the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. I don't think any of them have supernatural means. I think, like, for example, the tea leaves, I think because Trelawney's a seer, she, like, her supernatural powers put the signs there in the tea leaves, and then she teaches the class how to read them. But, like, if Harry had just had his own tea leaves, he wouldn't be able to get anything out of it. You know, if her powers didn't play a role in it. Mm-hmm. Personally, but I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I feel like it's more teaching, but
okay, more teachable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas, like you said, like, to be a seer, that you're either born with it or you're not. Either you can just see things in the future and not see things in the future, but, like, predict things with pretty decent accuracy.
Right.
Or you don't have the ability and you're just pulling stuff out your bum.
Exactly. I mean, basically, I guess that makes sense.
Whereas divination seems more like it's a little less strict on, like, how it's done. So it's more like something you would get taught.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's teachable. I think you would say it's teachable.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's where we stand. Let us know where you guys stand, though. Is it teachable? Is it not teachable? And are you team friend or are you team Trelawney? Friends. Team Trelawney, all the way. So, yeah, let us know how you guys think about that. Other than that, anything you'd like to say before we wrap up the episode this week?
I hope you guys enjoyed. And hopefully, the topics won't be maybe like as heated, but
I hope they're as heated. That's what the fun is.
This is just to give you an idea of this is how we see it, and would love to hear you guys' opinions on it. So
exactly, yeah.
And
go to our website. You might have a completely different opinion than us, which is fine. We want to hear it 100%.
It's either me or him.
And if you think that something that we said was not correct or inaccurate, feel free to tell us. Just do it in a polite way. But yeah, I think that basically wraps up this week's episode for us. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Again, if you're new to the podcast, I hope you enjoyed the first episode, and it'll just get bigger and better as we continue through our subjects, our topics.
Also, hopefully soon we'll have that intro.
Oh, yeah, the intro. It should be soon. I've actually just got an email from the guy. I'm going to check it out after this episode.
Should we do an outro?
Also, I don't know yet. Also, if you're new to listening, we hope you enjoy the new format. Or if you're a returning listener, Trevor.
Yeah.
If you're a returning listener and you know the way it used to be, hopefully you enjoy the new format and everything, and that it goes,
it's a little
through
bit
your ears and into your brain well.
It's a little bit more free
flowing,
yeah, free form,
and a little more chaotic mess. But with that said, guys, thank you all for tuning in, and then until the next episode, guys,
Mischief managed.